All right, so today we have the awful task of doing a lot of work in a very small amount of time. So today we're continuing to talk about how can I create a course for business coaches. There's two areas I'd like to think about. One is discuss questions, problems, identify needs. And this means we're going to go into this thing called state assumptions. Next, I'm thinking of mapping out real students and the process of introducing tools. That's over here with the mapping tool. We're not going to do that today. Now, if we look at the big picture, we have three areas: shaping potential, forming agendas, and creating effects. And in today's video, I told you that basically what we're talking about is making assumptions. I did say that we have to have the assumption that I have the capability of doing this process. I have the motivation. Maybe there's an issue here with interactions. Perhaps other people could help me to find some solutions. Anyways, we do have the checklist state assumptions. That means we can start to work with making assumptions. Now, regarding interactions, I did have a little chat with one of my students last week. He is a leadership coach. And so basically create a training course for business coaches, which means what? Step one is to develop some kind of method for coaches to know how to analyze student needs, how to pick the right tool. And then this coaching student, he said, also it would be nice to have some basic intro to the main tools, some tree branches, pieces, and connecting points of the methodology. Well, that's what this is. So this is like one of the ways that I teach people. And I say, well, look, we have these three basic areas. So what are we doing right now? Well, there's potential for more people to become coaches. Now, in order for more people to become coaches, I need to what? I need to create a plan. So the plan is based on a couple of different scenarios. What kind of scenarios will enable a large group of people to become business coaches? How can I help those people? All right, so this is where we're at right now with me shaping potential, and I'm trying to figure out some kind of plan. Now, before you can develop some scenarios, you have to look at some of the key assumptions. And that's where this state assumptions checklist comes in. We're trying to determine the extent to which information meets needs. So, he said, well, all right, so probably we need to listen and understand what people are saying. Okay, based on needs, select a tool to help the person draw out the elements of the issue. Okay, well, I can do that because I've been doing it for many, many, many years. But the question is, how does somebody else do that? What are the principles? How do they make this choice? What are they listening for? All right, so let's go down a little bit. So how can I create a course for business coaches? Step one. All right, so what are your needs for information? So if we look at this tool, this is actually one of the tools that you can use with your students. And the first step here is involve metadata types. So basically involving metadata types, we're talking about selecting topics, words, phrases, authors, date ranges, and so forth. We need to know the scope. All right, so what we're talking about is like what is it? Where can I find sources which will help me resolve this issue? And then I need to pull out data, right? I need to synthesize that data. That's step number 2, is to select is to amass, synthesize, and offer information. All right, so what does that sound like? I need information. So this is the space between ideas. Now, what am I talking about here? Am I talking about am I talking about imitate? Like who else can successfully do this? How do other successful people do that? Are we talking about integrate? All right, so I guess we're going back to the original. So I don't think that anyone else teaches the book like I do. Nobody else has amassed the amount of data that I have amassed. And so I think one of the possible solutions as we start this process is to map out real students and the process for introducing tools. So that is the data that I'm going to start to use in order to figure out what is the process that I go through.